This is one of the things we were talking about, just kind of gathering our thoughts together. Some of those big ticket purchases look different a little bit right now because of everything we've had going on in the last year. Just as an example, we've had, y'all know I married a geek. I'm very happy to be married to a geek, but I'm not fully in that category. He understands things that I will never understand in life, and one of them is how to put together a computer. Like we buy laptops if we need a laptop, but for the desktop, for the home computer, my husband builds those. I don't understand it. He does. This is how we balance each other out. But anyway, he's been telling me for a while, hey, we need to replace our home computer. So we set aside the money for it, and I told him, okay, just go ahead and go do your thing. Here's the money for it. Go build it. Well, he told me a couple of weeks ago, he said, honey, it's going to be about a year before we are done with the computer. And I'm like, what do you mean it's going to be a year? Well, the parts that he needs are not available. So you think about, what that impacts. We've had coronavirus, the impact in China. We've had some significant challenges in Japan as well with the parts being made. And what is the impact? Now we're obviously looking on a business level rather than a personal level, but what is the impact to so many businesses in the technology realm, because they just don't have the parts that they need to supply the pieces that, whatever you're making, whether it's a computer, you name it, lots of things out there that are just kind of in the mud right now.
You see this show up in inventory of vehicles on car lots right now. There's so much in electronics in vehicles, and the semiconductor shortage, if you will, because of COVID and what have you, has inventories very low. Well, what does that mean to you? That means that your prices are going to be higher because there's a greater demand for that. This is the classic setup of inflation. We've been talking about the fact that inflation is coming. We've been talking for weeks and weeks here on the show about this is a classic setup of inflation, that we've got so much money, so much cheap money in the marketplace that is chasing too few goods. Our productivity is down. The availability of certain goods are down. So you're seeing higher prices. You have to be wary of overspending.
Do you guys remember what the car lots looked like in 2008? When we had the cash for clunkers deal?
Yes.
My mother-in-law, she happened to need to replace a vehicle during that time. It was a very unfortunate time to need to buy a new vehicle. But what happened then, John, you mentioned supply and demand. What happened is because there were so many vehicles that got, just sent to the junkyard and they were off the roads, well, then there was not the supply needed to meet the demand, and so prices went up, and you were paying more than the what should have been the real value of a vehicle at that point. And that's what we're talking about here, that we have the possibility of heading that direction even more so in the housing market right now, and potentially in vehicles because of not being able to get the parts that they need for the electronics of all of it.